Yes, once again, we're going back into Edit Columns. When you use Grid View, almost all of the changes you'll make will have to be done in this area. Now, this time I want to select the listing price, but I want to select it from the selected fields. So I've renamed that price, select it here. We're not going to change the header, we're going to change the display of the text. We'll do that under Data by adding a special string next to Data Format String. Now the simplest way to change this is to type the string curly bracket 0 colon C curly bracket. You might notice at the bottom of the dialog window here, under Data Format String, Expression Web includes a couple of examples, and one of them is 0 colon C. That is a very common way to reformat currency. And if you forget what it is, you can always check it there. By the way, if you're really interested in data format strings, I'll show you at the end of this little section a link to a page on the Microsoft site where you can learn far more than I could possibly teach you about custom data format strings. But for now, let's click OK. Let's save this page, Control S, and preview, F12. And hey, wait a minute, it didn't reformat price. Let's go back and let me show you why. Alt-Tab, Edit Columns again. Now, when you change something like price and you add a custom data format string like this one, which is perfectly structured, you can see right there, that's exactly what it should look like. But you have to make one other change here for it to display properly. If you scroll back up the screen, under Behavior, there's an option called HTML Encode. You need to change that to false. If you don't, then the server will automatically encode the data that you entered as HTML, and it'll throw off the display. It won't be able to read the curly bracket 0 colon C curly bracket, because it'll be trying to translate that into HTML. So you have to turn HTML encode to false anytime you use a custom data string. Let's see how it looks now. Again, Control S, F12, and hey, that's starting to look like a number. Now I'm going to make one more refinement, which is kind of an advanced tip, but especially when you're dealing with this much content across the screen, I don't really need the 2 zeros after the decimal point. We're dealing with big enough numbers here that I don't think we have to worry about the pennies at this point. So let me go back and show you a variation on this string that'll get rid of those 2 zeros for you. Back to Edit Columns, back to Price, scroll back down, and in place of that C, I want you to enter $, number sign, comma, number, 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 close curly bracket. What you're saying there is display a number with a number, comma, 3 digits, and that's all. If you have experience working in a program like Excel, you may have seen data strings like this before. So let's click OK. Save again. Preview with F12. And that's more like it. So that's a trick you can use in any site, that string for a number, if you want to get rid of the extra zeros. And as I promised, if you really want to learn more about data strings, let me Alt-Tab back all the way over to Notepad. And at the very bottom of our Snug as a Bug text, you'll find the URL for a page on the Microsoft website where you can learn more than I could ever teach you in this training about how to create custom data strings. Let's close out of some of these extra browser windows. When you F12, and I do have Internet Explorer set to refresh the page each time. By the way, if you haven't done that, I strongly suggest that you go into Tools, and if you're using Internet Explorer 7, just hit the Alt key, and you'll get your menus back. Under Tools, Internet Options, under Temporary Files, in Settings, I'm setting Internet Explorer to check for a newer version every time I visit this web page. That helps ensure that I'm really refreshing the page every time I see it. So if you've been going back and forth and not seeing some of these changes, make sure you have this setting in here and that you're actually refreshing the browser and not looking at a cached version of this site. And let's close out of it.